Hi everyone, Tom Wolf here. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I created this glassy ambient sequence in Arturia Pigments. Mod wheel. Okay, so as you can hear, we've got this kind of glassy, very ambient, sort of spacious sequence, which kind of sounds like a kind of mallet instrument, but it has this very glassy quality to it. This is from a soundbank that I did for Pigments called Hyalus, which was all based around these kind of glassy sounds. So I'm going to show you how I created that in this video. Okay, so I've taken the patch apart. This patch is created from two wavetables in each of the engines. So the wavetables I actually use in this patch are from my set Hyalus. They're ones I created specifically for it. So unless you've got the set Hyalus, you're not going to be able to create exactly the same sound. However, of course, you can play about with stuff. You can still get the same characteristics. The main thing about this patch is that it's created using, sine waves or close to sine waves, which gives it that kind of glassy feel to it. So let's have a listen to the individual sounds. So on engine 1, we've got a wavetable called Sign Language, which sounds like this. Okay, so it's a little bit buzzy. If we go to 2D, you can see it's almost a sine wave, but it's just slightly out of shape. Let's turn that up slightly. Okay, so that is the raw wavetable in engine 1. And in engine 2, we have a wavetable called Melancholia, which again, this comes from Hyalus. That sounds like this. So it's just a little bit brighter, as you can see. It's kind of got the characteristics of a sine wave over here, but actually we've got two peaks and then a trough in the wave, so that gives it a slightly more buzzy sound. So let's have a look at engine 1 and how we've developed these to create the whole patch. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to modulate the wavetable. So the wavetable is being controlled by function 1. So let's switch that on. So let's go to function 1. Switch on wavetable 1 position, and if we go over to functions here, you can see that I've created a triangle shape that's just phasing in and out, and it's in sync. It's synced to 4 bars, so across 4 bars it's going to rise and then fall, and you can see that it's controlling this area here. So if I now play that sound, you can see the waveform changing, and it goes into this kind of buzzy area here and into that kind of delicate sine wave bit there. We've also got the envelope controlling this sound, so it's being controlled by envelope VCA. You can see we've got a very short amount of attack on it. We've just taken the kind of percussive edge off it slightly by putting the attack up to 1 millisecond. We've also got a bit of a decay on there as well, which is how we get that kind of mallet sound. And then we've got a fairly long release as well. Then this is being run straight through filter 1, and we've got our filters routed in parallel rather than in series. So engine 1 is basically being run through filter 1, and engine 2 is being run through filter 2. So let's switch on filter 1, and you can see that we've got an SEM filter in here. We've got the cutoff set to just below halfway, it's at 358 Hertz. We've got a little bit of resonance on there, and we've got a bit of keyboard follow as well. We've got the mode set to 100% low pass for this one. So that now sounds like this. So you can also see that when we play a key, we've got the cutoff being modulated. In this instance, it's being modulated by envelope 2. So again, on envelope 2, we've got a tiny little bit of attack to take the edge off slightly. And then we've got quite a steep decay here as well to the sustain point, which is also adding to that kind of mallet sound. We want a really quick kind of cutoff, but we do want the sound to sustain a little bit. Okay, so then we'll have a look at engine 2. So if we switch that one off and switch engine 2 on, so we've already played this sound. So this sound is not modulated at all. We've not controlled the wavetable at all. All we're doing is we're running this through filter 2. And on filter 2, it's almost a clone of filter 1. We've got it set to SEM filter. We've got the cutoff just slightly lower than where the cutoff in filter 1 is. We've got the resonance up a little bit. We've got a bit of keyboard follow. And we've also, again, got this being controlled by the envelope, this time envelope 3. So envelope 3 has an incredibly quick decay there. So that is completely cutting off the end part of that sound. So you can hear we're getting a very kind of almost like a digital piano type sound with quite a long sustain, but we get that initial attack on that. So it's also worth noting as well, we've got the amp mod here, we've got it set to velocity and we've got it set to halfway. So as we play this, the more velocity we play it with, the louder it's going to be as well. And you can also hear there that the velocity is also controlling our filter cutoffs as well. So if we play it heavier, it's going to be a bit brighter. And if I switch on engine 1 as well, so we're getting a little bit of kind of control over the brightness with how heavily we play it on the keyboard as well. So the next thing for us to look at is going to be the sequence. So let's go over to our sequencer and switch it onto our arpeggiator. And you can see we've got a very basic 4-note sequence here, but we've got the velocity being sequenced slightly within it. So we've got the as played amount set to 0. So what that means is when as played is set to 100%, the velocity is going to be exactly as we press the key. So it's not going to be affected by the sequencer at all. If we have that set to 0%, it's not going to be affected by our playing at all. So the velocity is purely coming from the sequencer. So this is the velocity positions that we're going to have in our sequence. We can turn that down a bit as well now. So we've already got this kind of glassy, malletty type sound, and that is coming from the control of our filters with our envelopes and having that really quick decay and then a bit of a sustain afterwards. And then when we switch the sequencer on, that is giving it a really smooth kind of mallet sound. So next we're going to move into our effects, and the main effect that sounds on the clean patch here is the reverb. So let's turn on our return here. And then we'll switch on our reverb. And we've also got a bit of control here. So we've got our decay being controlled by function 1. So we're going to switch that on. So you can see as we move around in function 1, it's going to be opening up our decay across time. So across 4 bars, we're going to start off with not a very long decay, and then that's going to lengthen out and then shrink back again, which just gives the patch a little bit of movement. So yeah, you can kind of hear that in action there. It just gives us a little bit of character in the patch. Just something a little bit different. So that's quite an easy patch to create. And as I say, you can kind of play about with the different wavetables in here, and you can make something really kind of creative, and you can find, you know, some wavetables that are similar to this, similar to kind of sine waves, and maybe even play about with the different FM mods and that kind of thing to shape that sound and to get that kind of glassy sound as well. So this is a really good one for kind of playing about with what you want to do yourself. The last thing I've got in these patches are the macros. So these are all controlling different kinds of effects. So on macro 1, we've got the chorus, so we can add that in nice and easily. We get a warmer kind of sound there. So then we've got a delay as well. So let's turn the delay up and switch the delay on. Creates a really nice kind of rhythmic thing there. crusher on macro 3. So switch that on. Now we get that nice kind of lo-fi bit crushing that I love so much. And then our fourth macro is distortion. So we'll switch that up, and we've got an overdrive here, and we'll switch that on, and as you can see we've got the wet dry set to about halfway with the macro open. So that completely changes the characteristics of that sound. It makes it really kind of dirty. And then of course we can kind of use the macros to blend these different effects in, so we can have a little bit of chorus. I like a lot of delay in this patch because it gives it a really cool rhythmical effect, a little bit of bit crush. Okay, and of course you can play about with these macros while you're actually playing the patch, so you can kind of change the characteristics of it while you're playing it, which can make for some very interesting effects. And the last thing we've got here is our multi-filter too, so let's switch that on. This is being controlled by our mod wheel, so we'll switch our mod wheel on. There we are. So now when we play it, we can just kind of filter it out when we want to as well, which is nice. Mod wheel's already on there. Can open that up. Okay, so there you have the patch playing favorites. It's a really quite simple patch there, but it has a really nice sound to it. Really great for ambient stuff, and it's really good fun to play about with as well. So as I say, you know, you've got the kind of ingredients here, but you just can, like, you know, play about with your own wavetables and that kind of thing. And you could even try putting different types of wavetables in and seeing what happens there if you still get that kind of melody type sound, changing the characteristics of it, which could be really cool. So hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching. If you did like the tutorial, there's a link in the description to sign up on my website where you can receive weekly tutorials and just kind of learn a little bit of sound design a week to help you kind of improve your sound design game. Also, if you'd like to check out the set Hyalus, it features 100 patches, all in this kind of glassy ambient style for Arturia Pigments. You can find a link to that in the description as well. Until next time, take care.